And so, guys, welcome to Tech Talks Fireside Chat. Today we have Dean Katha Spencer here, who is going to be talking to us about the non-tech careers in the tech industry. We are excited to have her here because she's going to be walking us through the various roles, what those roles look like, how to get in them, how to stay in them, and whatever else around that. Dee is very seasoned in this area and in this field, and so very well versed to speak about that, and then able to field questions as you need them. My name is Atieno Ayekba. Today I'll be hosting Dee as well. So Dee, feel free to take over, and for the community, feel free to ask questions when Dee is. Dee, you're going to let us know how you want us to do it. Do you want us to ask you questions during the discussion, or do you want us to wait for that? So feel free, take over to you now.
Okay, thank you. Thanks for inviting me. I know this has been a long time coming. We started talking about this months and months ago. So I am very passionate about this. I like to see people go from not making any money, to a career that they're proud of and that's going to enrich their lives. So today I just want to talk to our non-tech people like myself who want to go into tech, and I'm going to give you ideas of how I got out of what I was doing and into tech as a non-tech person. And my voice gets shaky sometimes, so I'm gonna drink some water. That's something you learn with facilitation. You just know how to cure your weaknesses. So anyway, I'm a business analyst and I work in a government contract right now and another contract for a West Coast company. But I'm a business analyst, product owner, and I serve a lot in those roles. I also support a lot of Scrum Master opportunities. So anytime there's a contract that comes up that needs Scrum Master, business analyst, or product owner, I go in, and of course you have to tailor your resume to the roles that you're applying to. So that's the first thing. I live in Atlanta. I have one son, married. I live in Lawrenceville, not Atlanta. I live in Lawrenceville. And so we all like to say Atlanta, but it's really Lawrenceville. Yeah, so that's a little bit about me. I come from Kenya. I've been in the US since 2004. And so I've seen it all really career-wise. So I'm gonna start with really letting you know that even though you're in a non-tech role and you have any interest in the tech industry, if you read blogs, if you just have this interest in technology, you can definitely go in and serve in that industry. It's not just limited to people who can code. It's not limited to people who can develop any algorithms. It's really open for everyone because tech industry is a company just like any other. So all companies have different roles. All projects have different roles, including supporting roles. So the main thing in technology is really software development. So I'm gonna go into software development, and you'll notice throughout my slides, I have some highlights, and these are highlights because these are keywords that apply to tech. So if you see the highlights, just know that those are words or jargon that I would like you to take and learn and understand, so that when you put it in your resumes, as I'm going to encourage you to do, then you'll know what it means. I don't want you to just pick keywords and throw them in your resume and then you don't know what they mean. And when you're getting interviewed, you're like a deer in headlights. So the Sdlc means software development lifecycle. Software development lifecycle is Sdlc. That's a key term that we use in tech, and it means software development lifecycle. So this is the lifecycle that we take applications, desktop or web, point of sale systems, and out of box customization of products through. So the projects go through a kickoff, you go through requirements gathering, analysis, design, development, testing, deployment, and then it goes into operations and maintenance. And then if there's need, we go back and we see that that's version 1 and we need a version 2. So we go through the same process again. Or if we are okay with product 1 and we want to start working on product 2, then we'll go through the same process again. So these are the steps that you go through in developing a product. When you end up with a watch on your hand, when you end up with any kind of technology, it goes through all these processes. The kickoff is where the money is suggested. That's where they decide on what the end product is going to be. And you notice these 2 boxes here, development and deployment. Those are the 2 areas that coders are involved in. Those are the 2 areas that you need to have coding experience, you need to have coding skills in. So that leaves all these other areas for non-tech people. So you can go in, requirements gathering is just understanding what the business wants this product to do. Analysis is understanding, gathering data, gathering information on what this product, the impact of this product, or if it's data analysis, you're looking at numbers that this product will be carrying. In design, you have someone that is drawing pictures or creating mockups. You're just creating shapes and making it look nice on a screen. There's very little coding is needed or none at all, because some people will create mockups using code, but you really don't need to. You can literally create a design from Microsoft Office products. Then there is testing. Testing is when you go in after the application has been developed and you test it as a user. So you're validating what the product is supposed to do, is doing what it's supposed to do. Then there's deployment. This is sending what has been built and tested into production for the users to see. And then operation and maintenance is when you're in a position where the end users are reporting to you any issues they have, and you report them to the business. So that shows you that there are so many areas that non-tech people can get into. So this is, so I'll stop there for any questions.
Anybody? Questions so far? Dee, thank you so much. That breakdown is really, really beautiful. It's giving me new insights and new ways. And I love how you break it down such that people can actually draw the picture as to where they fit or where they could fit if they wanted to try and get in. If they're not.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
I have a question. My name is John Wangari. I'm in Baltimore. I have a background in tech, computer science recent graduate, just back in May. Not yet started working, still in the job of looking for a job. But my question was, if you go into many current organizations, like tech organizations, they'll be looking to try Scrum Masters or people who are good at either project management and software development using the Agile system. So if we are talking about the Sdlc, do we have to find like specific organizations working with Sdlc, or you just have to know both Agile Sdlc and be good at Scrum?
Okay, so Sdlc is let's think of Sdlc as a way to make software happen. This is not, what you're talking about with Agile is a methodology. This is how we get this done. So this is how the team works day to day, the methodology. But this Sdlc is the overall process, regardless of if you're working with Agile, if you're working with Kanban, if you're working with Waterfall, all projects go through this process. So in a future slide, I'm going to explain what you just asked. So we do need some basic knowledge. Just like I said, this is industry jargon. So you have to just go through and look at the definition, which is software development lifecycle. And this is just how all software and actually some hardware goes through this process, regardless of what is being built in the end. The Agile and waterfall is determining the speed at which each piece of the software is developed and tested. So with Agile and Scrum, you take a small piece and you're just going through iteration until you find out the perfect end result or the minimal viable product that the customer can sign off on. In waterfall, you go through each piece of this process. So you go through the kickoff, and then requirements gathering is done. It can go on for months until they have a finalized document signed off. Everything is perfectly documented before they go into analysis and before they go into design, then development. So that waterfall is a slow process, and by the end of it, by the end of getting done with product one, it's probably 3 years down the line because they take their time and go through each process, and there's a lot of sign off. With Agile, it's really quick pieces of technology that are rolled out, so it moves faster. So that's the difference. That's just the speed of development versus the actual SDLC process. So everybody goes through this process. The sponsors fund you, the company accepts the project, the requirements are gathered, people analyze to see if this is even a useful product, then people have to design, then the code is put in, it's tested, it's deployed, and then it goes into the company to use and manage. So that's the difference. So what are non-techies doing in tech? Because techies in my mind are people who just are in the code. So when people are heads down in development, there's everything else happening in the company. There's everything else happening around them. So that's where non-techies do. We're driving the machine. We're the ones who are suggesting, hey, this thing is gray. How about you make it sky blue? Like, we're the ones that give those suggestions to make technology beautiful. That's why you look at Facebook and you can identify the specific hex color of Facebook because a designer picked that hex color. It's not what's his name, Zuckerberg, that said, oh, I want hex number 823, whatever, for Facebook. It's a designer. It's someone non-tech that said, this is good on the eye. There's a federal regulation that says such and such is good for maybe handicapped people. It's easy on the eye, stuff like that. So non-tech people drive all that behind the scenes. And so this is the same slide I had showed you previously, but I've put in roles where our non-techie skills come in. So we have project manager who's involved in the kickoff and initiation. So initiation is where the money is accepted or suggested, like they say, okay, this is gonna cost XYZ funds, or we are assuming it's gonna cost that much. This is CSM, and depending on the two speeds of development that we talked about, project manager is mostly in a waterfall project. Scrum Master, certified Scrum Master, is in an agile Scrum project or Kanban. Then a business analyst will be gathering business requirements, and I forgot to put a product owner here. A product owner is pretty much within the business analysis area now for an agile project. So if it's purely agile, you'll notice they have a product owner and a Scrum Master. Also, the analysis is done by a business analyst or a data analyst, depending on the type of information that will be going into this application or software. So if it's a Python project, you're going to have a data analyst. If it's maybe a form project, a project where people will be filling out forms, it'll probably be a business analyst saying, oh, when you fill out your name on field 1, we're going to require that you put your last name, or we're going to require that you put your date of birth. So that's what a business analyst does, is understand what the business wanted that thing to do. Then comes the design, which is done by the user experience designer. These are the people that make things pretty. So they're the ones that decided, oh, PowerPoint will have this specific gradient of gray so that when we are doing presentation, we have this option for design. And so then you have testing, which is done by QA. Some places they're known as quality assurance, some places they're known as quality analysts. So they go in and look at the requirements that have been put in, that have been gathered, and the findings from the analysis, and they say, okay, this application is doing what it's supposed to do. And their job is to try and break it, so they can go to the name field and put numbers and see if the system says, hey, we are requiring a name here. So they'll report back to development and say, hey, I can't allow you to go to deployment because your name field is letting me put numbers. So once they've had their conversations and the developers have fixed it, QA will approve it and it goes to deployment. Deployment carries a lot of weight because now the product is on market and the company is maintaining it now. So a lot of companies will end the project here or end that specific product right there and just keep it on the market. And then a year or so later, they'll call back the project team to do this, or they'll have a production support team that's involved in gathering maybe issues or bugs from end users. And if it's serious enough, they can start a whole new project. Hey, our users have been reporting the name field, man, this name field keeps breaking. So let's remove the name field and just change the whole form altogether. And so we have a new project, and then we start the cycle over again. Or this went really well, let's create another one for the other department. So the first thing is, non-tech decisions are made by sponsors of IT projects. Non-tech decision makers are the sponsors of IT projects. So people that have come up with these ideas for technology are usually non-tech. If you go to Coca-Cola, for example, the people that are coming up with ideas for the software that Coca-Cola has have no tech background. They just have the vision. The people in the government that come up with ideas for, hey, let's gather COVID data and let's display it using Tableau or this other different software are not tech people. They just know they're just visionaries. So you don't need to be a tech person to be in IT, in tech. So this is what we were talking about earlier. The project pace is determined by the methodology. So Agile versus Scrum. And again, I said I have highlights. These are keywords that are very important for your resume. So if you want to go into tech, it's really good to learn these keywords and then look at your current role and see how you can use the skills you already have to maybe add these skills and update your skill set, and then you can go into IT that way and start your projects and get your foot in the door. So this is my next area, but I'm gonna stop here for questions.
Thank you so much for the breakdown and the fact that you are letting people know that it is non-techies who are making the tech decisions, even though on paper and in the world it may look different. What I feel about that is that it's giving people the beauty of the confidence to truly understand completely that they do not have to be techies and they are really required in the tech industry, more so than they know. And it's just bringing the beauty of the skills that they've gathered and their personalities as well.
Yeah. So one thing I appreciate is when I go into a project and I have a tech person and like people who have no previous tech experience, and they come in and they have this fresh look. It's always so good when you see someone coming like from customer service and they know that customers experience such and such problem. And so it's always good to get that input from people who haven't worked in a project at all. So the next thing, how to get your foot in the door. So like I said, the main thing is using what you have. So you bolster your non-tech background by emphasizing the skills that are valuable for tech. So what's valuable for tech? I keep talking about project. So in a project, you work in a team, and the team has to be very cohesive. So one thing that you must do, one thing that's definitely required is communication skills. If you write well, you don't have to write very well, but if you can write and you can express yourself, you have interpersonal skills, you can facilitate, just present something like this. You don't have to be an orator or be an author. As long as the basics of presenting some information to a group of people is something that you're comfortable with doing. Analytical thinking and problem solving. This is something that's really important, is problem solving, thinking about the problem. And even though you don't have the full solution, having part of the solution is very important. Documentation skills. This is just knowing to use documenting software. Word, you have you have OneNote, you have this different software that you can type information in. If you're in customer service, I keep going back to customer service because that's where I was. We are required to write notes. And when a customer calls in, you are required to write, like, this person called for this problem, and this is the resolution I gave them. Stuff like that is really helpful because you can then find the root cause. And so it's really good to identify that. Stakeholders are people that are affected by the project positively or negatively. And this is a word that has to be on your resume. So just figure out a way where you've worked with people at different levels of the organization and make sure that you bolster that background, that information. Make sure that you mention that on your resume. Being detail-oriented and capable of delivering a high level of accuracy. This is really important. Detail-oriented is a keyword that's in every job posting in IT. You don't have to be detail-oriented. I am not. So what I've done is you acknowledge that you're not, and you use tools to help you. So if you're presenting, if Jackie asks you to present and you know very well you won't remember everything, you create a presentation. And then that way you have it in front of you and you can just look at it and you're not thinking and forgetting things. If you're working with a team and they ask you, oh, what did the stakeholders say about at the last meeting? You remember, oh, Teams has a record button, so you can record the meeting and then go and write your notes later. So even though you're not detail oriented, you can use tools to your advantage. So, but detail oriented must be on your resume. Capable of accuracy. This is important, but detail oriented is like everywhere. And I think it's just the people that give us these jobs are employment agencies and they have to check their boxes. So just remember that those are things that are entry level that you need to have on your resume, that you need to speak to. So if somebody asks you, oh, so how did you use your documentation skills? Oh, I was able to present. I created presentations for my team, or I looked for opportunities where my manager needed someone and we created a project together to do XYZ. If you volunteer, a lot of us are involved in nonprofits. So if you volunteer for a nonprofit, that is very valuable information, and you can actually use that and add it as you see on LinkedIn, it's included there. So if you're looking to add that, that is very important, and you can actually put yourself in a good place when you say, yeah, I worked with nonprofits doing XYZ, and I see that I'm now very capable as a business analyst. I would like to bring that skill to your company. And so that is that area. And I'll stop there for questions. Let me see if there are any questions. This is a quiet audience.
I know. Everybody raise your
Okay.
hand. She's dropping nuggets. She's telling you how to get these jobs for the ones who are not in the industry yet. And the ones who want to shift, doesn't mean if you're in the industry, doesn't mean you don't want to shift. Any questions, any hands up? Or Eugene, go ahead.
Yeah, I have a comment. One of the things that people can do is involve themselves in technical projects. For example, when you're going live with a new system, talk to the tech guys, because when you interact with the people who are bringing the system to you, you get exposed to them, and they're usually on the lookout for non-tech people who can become a little bit more technical, or maybe become a business analyst, a Scrum Master, and help bridge the gap between the business and the coders, right? Because a lot of times, the people who do the coding and other more technical things, they don't want to talk to the end users, or there are things that are lost in translation. So I think that as business analysts, as Scrum Masters, as product managers, if you're able to bridge that communication gap, it makes a huge difference to the organization.
Yeah, give me just one moment.
Thank you, Eugenia. That's great input. The middleman goes such a long way, and the ability then to understand some part of the technical enough, to be dangerous, and enough of the business side to be able to create and understand those solutions is key. So thank you for your input, Eugene. And also, networking never really hurts you, ever.
Yeah, and you always have to start where you are. So imagine if you're thinking of going into tech, and then you just talk to one of the tech guys that's upgrading your software at work, and you're involved in a project, and your team maybe allows you, or your manager says, oh, you're interested in that, please join them and tell us more about this software. Right there, you have information to put on your resume because you're involved in a migration. So that right there can get you into another project paying IT money. So networking is always to your benefit, regardless of where you are.
Absolutely. I see, just before we move on, I see Mercy Otieno has her hand up. Mercy, would you like to ask your question?
Yes. Hi, and thanks for doing this. So I due to COVID, I was laid off. So I'm I want to transition into IT. And I worked in an IT department before, but not as an IT person, as a non-tech person. And I'm just wondering, what would be the best or the ideal entry level roles I should be looking at? Because the ones in my mind that I think I want a bit, when I look at the job description, it's a bit too tech for me, or I feel like the skill sets that I have will not get me through to an interview.
Yeah, and I completely get that hesitation, but going in, business analyst or quality assurance analyst is always the path of least resistance, because your resume is subjective. So you worked in IT before, you can take some of those skills that you've acquired there, supporting users, supporting stakeholders. You've definitely showed some interpersonal skills. You've showed some facilitation skills. So you can take that and use it to apply to a business analyst role. You just have to get the confidence, and then you have to remember the keywords that I've been showing through the presentation. Just go through those and learn them and internalize them and make sure that you know what they mean. And you can really start from anywhere and go into those two roles: business analyst, quality assurance. And what they look for is confidence. What they look for is someone that can speak to their resume. So if you write Sdlc on your resume, and then I'm interviewing you and I ask you, oh, so how was did you do agile or waterfall? And you give me a blank stare, I'll just know you did not have Sdlc, because you should know the difference. And so that's where you get caught, is when you use these keywords for the algorithm to pick you up, but when it does pick you up, you can't back yourself up. But otherwise, if you can speak to the skills that you have on your resume and have confidence, any entry-level business analyst or any entry-level quality assurance will be good for you. And then you just have to remember if you lack in any of these skills, you can support yourself with technology. You can use tools to help you. So don't be afraid, just give it a try. And I always say, for your first job in tech, as a non-tech, it's probably advisable to just go in to a project. I know it's very scary to think, oh, a 3-month project, but that's how you get in. Take a project, work that project, and then you learn so much. If that project pays you $2, the next project will pay you $6. So that's not how much you earn, but I'm just giving an example that as you get skills and as you gain your confidence in the tech area, you continue growing, then your confidence grows and you can even go into other roles. So I'm gonna go into the roles right now. The first one is business analysis, and this is so small, I'm sorry. I hope everyone can see this writing. So what you'll do as a business analyst is enabling change in an organizational context by defining needs and recommending solutions that deliver value to stakeholders. Stakeholders, I've said again, are people that are affected by your project positively or negatively. So if you're working for the White House, your stakeholders can be Democrats or Republicans. Like it's not like people who are who are there to sign off on your application only. It's people that will test it and give you negative feedback, positive feedback, or people that will be given, even when you're looking at a payroll system, your stakeholders are the people that will be paid using that system, even though they'll never log into it. So you look at stakeholders in that context. Documenting system changes, enhancements, and doing a current state versus future state analysis, which is called gap analysis. This is another keyword that I forgot to highlight, but I'll highlight before it's sent out to you. So the documenting system changes is when you're meeting with your manager and your project manager or your stakeholders or your team, and they say, oh, right now we have a blue button in the middle of the page, and we want it to be moved to the left side and we want it to be red, but we actually don't want a button. We want it to be the picture of a person. So all those things need to be written down somewhere, it's currently a blue button, but in the future, it's going to be a red man at the bottom of the screen. So all that needs to be documented so that the developers know what to work with, so that the people that are reading this document of yours 6 years from now know where it started. And if you have the context of this is why we are changing it from a blue button to a red man, they know why. And then gap analysis tells you, this is what we have right now. This is what we are looking to do, but we have something in the middle that's missing. So our button, when we pressed it, used to have music. And now we have a red man. When we click him, he's quiet. So just know that we won't have music playing anymore. So that's gap analysis. And then you have to have the ability to present to teams and stakeholders. So meeting management. So this is the ability to speak to more than one person at a time. It's not that you'll be chairing conferences or you'll be talking to thousands of people at a time. It's really, you'll be addressing more than one person most of the time. So when you talk to the stakeholder team, for example, if you have a customer that is based in another state, you'll be on a conference call probably with 3 people. And then you come back and talk to your team and tell them, oh, this is what they're asking for. You'll be talking to your developers, your project manager, your QA analyst, and other people in your team. So at all times, it's very rare that you'll have conversations one-on-one unless your team is very small, where you're the BA and the QA. So you'll have very little interaction with just one person. So this is where you really need to prepare yourself and know that that's what you'll be required to do at the very least, documenting and understanding the change and the context for the organization, and then meeting people and talking about that. One optional certification that you have for business analysis is the Certified Business Analysis Professional, or Cbap, which is offered by IIBA. This is optional. It just looks good on your resume, but if you have this and you don't have the skills on your resume and you don't have the confidence to talk about it, then it's not really useful. What really matters is your confidence and your skills on your resume, and then also being able to live up to those skills. So if you said you're detail oriented like Diana, and then you don't have the tools to help you, then people will keep seeing, hey, requirements 3 is missing. What was the information that was supposed to be there? Hey, you told us that we need a red man, but you didn't tell us what it was before. So business analysts are responsible for bridging the gap between IT and the business, using data analysis to assess processes, determine requirements, and deliver recommendations and reports to stakeholders. So I added data analytics over here, but it's really not something that happens for all business analysts. This is really, as you advance in your skills, you could go into data projects, but data analytics is not a requirement. So I meant to have maybe data analytics included somewhere here, but this is not a requirement, and this is not what you'll be doing when you start out as a business analyst. Now, as you get your skills up and your company trusts you and your team trusts you, then they'll give you more stuff. So the more work you get, just know they're trusting your skills more. The next role is product owner. A product owner is similar to a business analyst, but they work purely in an agile development team. A business analyst can be involved in waterfall and agile. Product owner is purely in agile Scrum, and they work with business to meet the business and IT to meet the needs of the business. So you're constantly, like I said, in conversation with business and you're in conversation with IT. Conversations can be via email, it can be via Teams, it can be via sending diagrams. It doesn't have to be face-to-face or conference calls. Then you get intimate knowledge of business processes and product. That means when you're not meeting with people, you're going through the software and trying different use cases to figure the product out. So if we are on Facebook, you work for Facebook, you're constantly testing, or if I submit a status and I put 1 character, what happens? If I put 695 characters, what happens? So you're just testing different scenarios for the product so that you can familiarize yourself with it. Then another role of the product owner is prioritizing work for the team. So your job is to get what needs to be done and then tell them, oh, this is what the customer would like finished first, second, and last. This is what has to be done right now, and this is what can wait for the future. And with the rest of the team, you can work to determine who gets which work item based on the developer skill set. If you have someone that needs to develop a Python or Tableau visualization, you know who works on that, and that's not your job. That's for them to build, to figure out together. The developers will figure themselves out. Then you carry out some basic testing to validate complete work. So you've prioritized the work, you know what the customer had asked for. Then you just go through to make sure that they've met those requirements. It's not your job to submit bugs and all that comes later for the QA. Your job is just to make sure that the developers understood what you're saying, because sometimes we get lost in translation. So you just have to go in and familiarize yourself with that. Then for the product owner, you definitely need experience working in an agile setting. So this is not your first job coming out of non-tech. This is your second job or your third job. But this is done with, it's better if you get a certified Scrum product owner, CSPO certification from the Scrum Alliance. This just gives strength to your product owner on your resume. So like I said, this is not your first job out of a non-tech field.
You're watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, presented to you by Appstech America. Appstech America is a consulting company that helps immigrants find amazing higher education and job opportunities in the tech industry in the United States. You can find our programs by going to www.appstechamerica.com. Appstech America, we wake you up to the unlimited potential within you.
Any questions so far?
I see Joyce Green has her hand up. Joyce, would you like to go? Joyce Green, would you like to go?
Oh, I'm sorry, guys. That was earlier. I think I sent my message on the chat. I was just saying, I think Marcy had asked a question how to penetrate in the tech industry. I was just mentioning I've been in the industry for the past 10 years, and I currently focus more on the testing. So if you're interested in testing, I do teach the testing, Sdlc, whatever the other was showing. So if you're interested, I teach that. So, but I think I forgot to remove my hand, so I didn't know it was still there. So even if anybody interested, just let me know. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Joyce. So you guys have heard Joyce states that she teaches the QA part of it, the testing part of it. So if anyone wants to reach out, she dropped her number in the chat. Feel free to reach out to her.
Okay, so looks like 2 people raised their hands. Is there somebody else? I'll lower Joyce's hand. I don't have anyone else. Okay, so this is the product owner. So this is just similar to business analyst, but on agile projects. What you need to do here is gain that agile confidence, like you worked in an agile project, get certification, and then start looking for product owner jobs. Don't stay in a business analyst role because you've gotten in and you're comfortable. Grow. Don't get comfortable. The next thing is Scrum Master. So a Scrum Master is in agile development also, and they are like your prefects, for lack of a better term. They track the work progress. Tracking work progress and working with a team to meet the needs of the business. So the Scrum Master is the one you tell, hey, I needed to complete 3 items last week, but I only did 2. And this is the reason. Can we move it to next sprint? And I'll give it first priority. Scrum Master is the person that clears obstacles and blockers, like organizational level or technical issues that impede the team's work. So the Scrum Master is the one you go to and say, hey, I normally create my diagrams using Visio and I don't have it in my computer. So he's the one who's supposed to look around the organization and find Visio for you. This is the person that will talk to the stakeholders and tell them, hey, you're giving Diana too many requirements in every meeting. So let's bring this down. Let's bring your meetings down to 30 minutes. They'll pretty much be addressing things that are stopping the team from performing at their best. So they also work on team dynamics. So in an organization where you have multiple Scrum Masters, you'll see they'll shuffle employees around to make sure that the teams are not interfering with themselves, with each other. And so if there's a need for a specific skill on one team, they'll move them and make sure that the team dynamics are balanced. Then they also ensure a good relationship between the team and the product owner, as well as those outside the team. So they're there to protect the whole team and make sure that their work progresses, because they are responsible for the ultimate project performing well. So, and this is an agile, this role is in an agile setting, so the projects move really quickly. They don't have time to stop for 3 months to figure something out, or stop for 3 months because we need to solve an internal conflict. For the Scrum Master, you do require the Certified Scrum Master certification, and this is offered by the Scrum Alliance as well. And this is not your first job in IT. The next one is project manager. So this actually is one of the most common, like people have heard of this a lot. And so this is, naturally, a project manager is analytical, inquisitive, organized, keen eye for detail, or has tools to help them with the detail. You have to show that you have stakeholder management skills. This means that you're comfortable with people at all levels. You can work with C-suite executives if they still have those in organizations. If you have an organization where the teams are global, you should be able to communicate with people across all cultures. Then great project management experience is really important, because it helps you help the company meet the project needs. The company meets their needs if their project managers are on point. So you ensure project success within scope, budget, and schedule. Then you manage the changing demands in a complex environment. So the project manager is like a goalkeeper. So they make sure that they keep away all the bad. I'm trying to find a good analogy. It's not working. But anyway, they do need to show training. So in order for you to be hired for a project manager role, it can be your first job, and it can be out of a non-IT field into IT, because project management spans all fields. So there's project management in construction, there's project management in schools, there's project management in health, it's everywhere. So even building your house in Kenya is a project. Building your house in Atlanta is a project. So everything that you've done with that, you can actually include, I just recently learned this, you can include that in your PMP application. And what you have to do is learn the PMP material, which is how many hours? 35 contact hours, I think it is, yeah. And then you get that certification from the Project Management Institute. An option for project manager is project coordinator. and CAPM, Certified Associate in Project Management. So these three can be your first job outside of into IT. So if you've not been in IT and you apply to these jobs, just show that you have the skill set for project manager or you have this certification, and this can be your first job in IT. So once you've gotten this job, like I said, you need to grow. You can't just get your first BA job and say, oh, I'm going to retire here, because tech evolves so much. You'll be evolved out of your job before you know it. So you need to grow. You need to update your resume, keep it on the ready, because we are applying to jobs often. We're not sitting there and just waiting for the waves to take us. We are growing. So you take a course, learn from people in the field, learn keywords for your resume. I've highlighted a lot of them in this presentation. Watch videos online. I recommend Udemy, YouTube. When I was doing this, I couldn't think of any other, but there are a lot of resources online. And look around your current role. I don't remember who mentioned that. Look around your current role for projects, for things that are available within your current company. Like I used to work for Verizon and they had a lot of initiatives, and it was, oh, let's look at government, business and government accounts. There's this issue that's been happening. Let's figure out the root cause. And you're talking to IT people and they're like, oh yeah, we're running this SQL queries. I didn't know how to run a SQL query to save my life, but I was in there. You just learn things from where you are. You can volunteer as a project coordinator. So just Google project coordinator volunteer and get that information, get those skills. A lot of nonprofits are always looking for project coordinator. This is something that you can take and bolster. And by the time people are reading your resume, they'll be like, I want this person to come and coordinate my project. And so then the other thing is get certified. Once you get into this field, I don't recommend like getting certified to get in. Once you're in and you see this is good for you, this is something that you want to do, because IT is also not for everyone, honestly. So once you get in and you're comfortable and you see that this is what you want to do, look at the Agile Alliance, the Scrum Alliance, not Agile, Scrum Alliance, look at them and see what they have out there. See the different certifications that PMI offers, Project Management Institute. Go to IIBA, International Institute of Business Analysis, and see the certifications they have. They have so many different ones that might just be right for you. So don't go out there collecting certifications before you have any real life experience. Then the last thing is read tech blogs and the news. And so you learn a lot from tech blogs, Wall Street Journal, and I've forgotten another one, but you can just look through and make sure that you're getting some information from out there. Don't just stick to the 2021 knowledge. Look for your 2023 information. Like just keep looking for information. And for resume assistance, you can email me. There's my email, dinkatha@gmail. And I'll do BA training if Joyce does QA. So we're gonna tag team. There you go. So I'm gonna stop there for questions. This is it. This is the end of the presentation, and it was great talking to you all. You're a very quiet audience. I don't know if I shocked you or this is how you normally are. Thank you.
Dee, thank you so much for the information today. It's been extremely helpful. I'm going to ask if you stop sharing the screen so we can actually look at the audience.
Okay, there you go. Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Oh, so I wanted to say thank you so much. Today has been extremely insightful. I wanted to reiterate the part that you can do your BA training and resume prep for the people who need it Joyce Green stated she can do QA training. For the ones who may be needing that training, I want to also do a roundtable and see, does anybody have any questions based on what Dee stated today? Any questions on how to get into the industry? Any question on any of the roles she stated? She's right here in front of you. And then we also have the people who are able, some people may be able to assist you as well. So do we want to talk about that? I see one hand up, or do I have a hand up? 1 second. Yes.
Hi, my name is Rachel. I'm based in Virginia. Thank you so much, Diana. That was great information. Appreciate your time and just thorough articulation of the non-tech world in IT. I just wanted to add and complement just the information you covered. A few items, just as I heard, John talking that he just graduated. A lot of our students are graduating. We don't want to assume, right? So some may be international students, some may be, legitimate domestic US students. So with that in mind, there are two aspects to it, right? So if you're graduating and you have OPT or STEM, you have a time crunch within which, even when you're applying for jobs, you want to make sure the job you're applying to relates to the degree program you graduated from or you are studying. But I think I saw a question where if you're getting into the non-tech field, what are some of the positions? So degrees that you would think about really vary, right? From financial, you can do business information systems, you can do IT, you can do communications, but the key area is the entry level job, right? You can work in a bank, you can work, help desk analyst, just something to put yourself into the organization. Because from there, the great thing with American companies, with hard work, you can be able to grow up, right? You're trying to make your connections, you're trying to grow. And the neat thing I've realized with a lot of employers, they're able to back you up. They have, for instance, educational assistance, tuition assistance. So if you're thinking of, okay, you write down a plan, right? In 3 years, I want to get the Agile, Scrum, or the project management certification. They can be able to help you acquire that so you don't acquire debt. And from there, you're trying to also network. You're trying to get additional, duties added to your resume so that you can learn additional tasks to put you on the platform where you can elevate yourself further. So if anything, I would just suggest, I'm in talent acquisition. So one thing I've seen a lot of candidates do is set up a job alert on LinkedIn, because from there, what you can do is see jobs that you want to do. What are some of the elements you want to be working on? So that's one way of looking at it. But then the other thing, like Diana talked about, is if you know for certain you want to be, for instance, a product owner or a Scrum Master, then there are certifications that are required. That is a no-brainer. For instance, in my role as a talent acquisition, if you apply for a product owner or, a project manager position and you don't have the PM certification, I'm sorry, you're just going to get cut out, period. So that's one way of looking at it. The minimum qualifications for every job, make sure you acquire them. Then from there, get connections, because if you have connections, then you can foster further. But great topic.
Thank you. Thank you for that insight, and thank you for the input, especially as the fact that you are in talent acquisition. Sometimes we don't know how you think. So we would be coming from maybe the tech side, non-tech in the tech area, but what is talent really looking for, and how is talent really looking for this talent? So thank you for your input on that, in addition to what they had stated. So that's great. Also on the entry level tips for the people with the time crunch on OPT and how quick they need to enter into spaces. And I feel that the information is relevant just globally. It's relevant in the United States. It's relevant, I guess, just anywhere really in the world. And then with each part of the world and each country, then whatever employment rules that they have at that point. Does anybody else have any questions? Catherine, I see your hand up, and I see Shanice as well.
Thanks, Diana and Jackie. I'm sorry, I'm walking outside, so excuse the noise.
Okay.
I wanted to ask, like, if you're trying to get more visibility in your job. You might be good at what you do, and so you're kind of like typecasted. So it's hard to move above a manager or a director position. Not that I'm seeking that, but when you're looking for visibility, what would you recommend as far as an entry level certification, and how much are we talking about here? As far as
So are you in a specific industry and you're looking to move up in that industry, or are you looking to leave and go to a tech company?
I'm already working as a network engineer.
Oh, okay. So if you're already there, then the best window you have is during your reviews. If you have project reviews, or if you have talent reviews with your immediate manager, you would then bring up that interest. You'd bring up that conversation and see their support level. Otherwise, if they don't support that and you're ready to grow, I'm thinking rather than having to go over their heads or whatever, it would probably be better to move on to another company that will support you. So if you can have a conversation where you are and say your interest, I'm interested in doing XYZ, and articulate it that way and say, I've been here for XYZ years and I've seen this project or something, just whatever you have to back that up, and you're supported, then you move on in the company. If your company does not support you, this is 2021, like, yeah, Bezos is hiring.
That's funny. You simplify it that way, but I guess what I'm trying to get at is, with every position, you have certain benefits, and you can't just jump ship because of responsibility. So before you make that move, what I'm looking for is, from what you've said, what would you recommend as a way to get into management, whether it's project management or, a product owner or whatever?
Yeah,
What
so
would
the
be
first
the
thing,
easiest?
the easiest would be, like I said, to speak with your immediate, whoever manages your performance, whoever is responsible for getting you like noticed by the organization, like, hey, I've been doing this. And if you've seen the opportunity in your organization, maybe they've posted it on their website or something, you can probably mention that and say, hey, I think I qualify for this position that you posted last week, and I can update my resume for it. And yeah, so that would be the best way. To get into project management, you would probably need to show that you've been studying, or you have some additional skills if your current role doesn't show that you have that project management skill. But yeah, the conversation will be the first step, and then backing that up with skills, or the PMP if it's a project management role and you think that you have the skills for it. It's 35 hours to get your PMP. So I hope that answers your question.
If I may jump in here, in my organization, we do have some technical people who have moved to project management and Scrum Master roles. So the question for you, Catherine, is, do you interact with people who are business analysts, who are Scrum Masters, who are project managers? Do you work with them? Do you work with their bosses? Because I think that when you create those relationships, they allow you to find out when openings are there. And if you've expressed an interest, that'll give you the gap to move to one of those positions. Does that make sense, Catherine?
Yes, totally. I get what you're saying. I think I need to move in that direction. But thank you, guys. Thank you.
You're welcome. Then there's also a response that says, in response to the current question, ask to job shadow, network within the company, volunteer for extra tasks to take to get your name out there as well, Catherine.
And in addition to that, even when you're a technical person, when you're working with the Scrum Master, when you're working with the product owners, the product managers, the customers, you are learning some of those skills. You can put those into your resume. When you interact even outside the company, within the company, those are skills that you have now. So you just have to create those relationships, and then you'll be able to jump ship within the company.
Thank you for that, Eugene. Catherine, do you feel your question was adequately answered? And anyone else who was following Catherine's trajectory, do you feel you guys know the next steps? I guess yes, I hope so. I see Lydia and Andrew have their hands up. I'm going to pick on Lydia, then Andrew, and then I'm going to go from what I have in the chat. Lydia, would you like to go?
Yeah, thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Jackie. Thank you, Diana, so much. I came in maybe 15 minutes into it, but I have been tremendously engaged, and also I've really gotten a lot of insights. Mine is a cocktail of a few of issues, but I mean, whatever you can help me with, please go ahead. I have a master's degree in project management. However, I don't have like hands-on experience with project management. But as Diana was speaking and saying, like building your house can be accounted as project management. Well, I know I've like been responsible for 2 houses that I was constructing in Kenya. So maybe that's a good thing that I didn't know can be part of it. Though I'm not sure how that would be included in a resume to say I did this, especially the fact that it's also out of the country. Another thing is most of my experience is within government and non-profit, and also back in Kenya. So here I have experience volunteering for a non-profit, which I still do. So I always have the challenge of how to apply for these jobs, noting the skill sets they want. Many of them I would have, but not in the setting of a company, I would, of like a for-profit company, I would say. So that's another challenge. Another one, I have just like a light bulb went high when I can see it's Miss Woodson. I didn't get your first name. You were talking about like you're in talent acquisition, and when you're looking for someone who applied for a project management role, you expect to see a PMP certification. But I see so many places within the job market saying you, even without the PMP, as long as it's good experience, you don't really have to. But now that you're talking about it, is it not worth even trying any of those positions just because there's no PMP certification like next to the name? So I would like to be helped in a way to know how to probably coil something that would help. And I think sometimes I have a challenge when I apply for a role. It might be not project management, but because the education right there is project management, I don't know whether that is where I get kicked off, or because I get so many regrets until I'm almost giving up, which I don't. So the time that has taken between my education, my last master's degree, which was in project management, is it 6 years? Because I got it in 2014. Yes, I got it in 2014, and I haven't really had hands-on. I took time raising my kids, and now I'm ready to get back in, and it's been quite a challenge. So thank you, guys.
You're welcome.
Okay, so was your master's in the US or in Kenya?
Yes, in the US.
Okay, so And you've been volunteering with a nonprofit for how many years?
I started it last year, so this should be 1.5 years going.
Okay. And have you worked any other jobs within the US?
Not that I can put on a CV.
Have you worked any other jobs? No. So the thing is, you have a very good beginning. You have a master's in project management, and like I said, the project manager role can apply to any field. It doesn't have to be tech. So an IT project manager role might not be the best one for you to start with. But because IT project managers do a little more in the, like with the tech field, and they have a lot of specific skills and words that they need to use. Like you have to explain deployment in a specific way. So a project management role is the right thing for you to do, but maybe the first one is not in IT. Maybe a nonprofit that's actually hiring you and paying you might benefit from the skills that you've earned from the volunteer project manager role, and maybe removing the word volunteer from the resume might get you past the algorithm, because all these companies use keywords to find people. You're really good, but the regrets are not coming from a person. The regrets are probably coming from an automated system. So I definitely think you're a really good candidate. You've been doing project management for a year. You have a master's in project management. You have those other roles that you're saying you can't put on a resume, but I have a feeling you probably can. So yeah, don't put yourself in a box. I think you have really good skills there for, and even an organization that does international development, I think you would be really good for.
Now that you mentioned it, my first master's degree is international development management. That's why my line has mostly been nonprofit. It's just that I think I'm having a challenge probably in the resume part of it, because I've worked with development organizations, including government in Kenya. Here, the position is not project management, as you might imagine. It is a client service management, but it's a lot of project management because it's still a young organization, and that's why I decided to volunteer, because they need so much, and I use a lot of my project management and international development management skills to help with a lot of. I cut across a lot of departments within the organization just to help lend a hand as they grow.
Okay, so for this one, I definitely think in your summary, you should say you use project management skills to help with the running of this organization. In describing your role, project management skills, project managed, spearheaded project management, like if they project manage themselves, project manage the heck out of your resume. I don't know if I can say it any other way, but I think you have very good skills. You have a very good backing, maybe not for an IT project manager, but for a project manager in international development. We have, in Atlanta, I know we have CARE, we have CDC, we have forgotten the other international development, but we have a lot of organizations that would benefit from your skills. So usajobs.gov has a lot of those international developments. And what you would need there is, it's not really, their resume is different. You have to put in your hours worked, just put standard hours, then put your supervisor's title and phone number, if I remember their format correctly. And so that's the only difference between applying for a role like that and applying for an IT role. But I definitely don't think tech project management will suit you. It will probably be that field.
And Lydia, I will say also that you have Diana who you can hit on the side after this meeting and stuff like that. Diana does BA training and she does resume prep. So just based on the conversation that you've had, I think she's pointing you right. And it's just having the confidence and knowing what keywords you need to use. And Joyce Green does QM testing, teaching. So if anybody needs those services, like it doesn't end here. This is not the end all be all. Lydia, feel free to reach out to Diana in terms of, okay, listen, this is how my resume looks like. I need to fix it because I need to change A, B, C, D, E, F, G. And I think that'll also be very helpful as well. Lydia, what do you feel about the answers today?
Very, very insightful. Thanks for the reiteration, because I thought of IT being like something that's very current in like everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
But just thinking about it, my heart of hearts has always been in international development.
There you go. I'm glad you came today, and I'm glad you mentioned everything, because I'm seeing that most probably I pray that you end up in international development then, where your heart is on fire, your soul is on fire, and you're excited about what you do on a daily. I pray that happens for you.
And
I could just
Jackie,
tell, even before she said her first degree, I could just tell from the way she described it, it was definitely international development. And then she said she had a degree in international development. I was like, yeah, I saw that. So good luck, Lydia.
and I think
I will get in touch with you after this.
And Lydia, depending on the size of the organization, you may end up in IT working at an international development, company.
There you go.
Wow, awesome.
Awesome.
I guess it's just knowing what to do, which is some direction is what I think I need.
There you go. There you go.
Thank you guys.
You're welcome. I'm going to go to the chat and state, there's Eunice who stated, I came a bit late, pardon me. I would like a career change and was hoping to undertake some training early next year so I can fix my finances. My question is, what is the best entry? What is the best entry position? Which training gives you soft landing to absorb the shock? So what is the best entry position? Eunice, are you still here so that you can actually articulate better in the direction you want to go? Because I think there's several entry positions. But Eunice, are you still? I see Eunice. Eunice, would you like to say something, or do you want RD to take that question?
Hi,
there you go, Eunice.
Good morning, guys. Well, it's just that, as explained, I just wanted to know what particular entry level will give me a soft landing, because I'm from more from the customer experience background, and yeah, I really want to take a shift, but I really do not know when and how, and what this big IT world. But since we have the non-techies, it gives me a soft landing, so I want to know where can I.
Okay, so you said I like customer people. So you said you're in customer service. Do you like explaining things to people, or do you like reviewing people's work?
I love.
Those are your only two options.
Well, I love sorting out issues. That one is what I know, because being in the customer experience industry, been in the hotel industry, and also the telecommunications industry. So yeah, being there helping sorting things out is what I love to do. Yes.
So then in that case, business analysis would probably be the best for you, because then working in business analysis works really well with people who like sort of a puzzle. You're given this bag full of pieces and you spread it out, and you at the end of it, you're like, oh, okay, you get the picture. So if you enjoy that kind of stuff where you have almost ambiguous pieces and you need to analyze them and make sense out of them, then you'll fit very well into a business analysis role. And coming from customer service, you've worked with people, you've solved problems. And so it's just a step up solving a business problem. So same thing. So I think if you're looking for a soft landing, I would say business analysis. If you're looking for somewhere where you'll be working behind the scenes and take a little bit of learning, you'll do a QA. So
Okay.
you have a pick. Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll go on to the next question then. Rachel, Shani states, as a person with no PMP, she's stating it's Rachel, certification, what roles would you suggest to apply for? She has no PMP, what is the best role with no PMP?
I didn't get the question.
As a person with no PMP certification, what roles would you suggest for one to apply for? I feel that she feels maybe she's not able to do the PM roles.
Okay,
Shani,
so she has, so you
no
go
PMP.
for a PMP if you have some project management experience. I don't recommend just getting a PMP in order to go to project management. But if you have some skills, because even the application requires that you have some skills, and they always say it can be anything. But I think if you don't have, and I don't see the question, but if you don't have any project management experience, then you have to really start with like project coordinator, get yourself in there and learn the project management skills. If you already have that project management experience, then you can start working on your certification and even put on your resume PMP in progress or something like that. But fresh out of school, I don't think that would work for you.
Okay. I also
unless I misunderstood the question.
No, you did, and I'm going to also add on to that. Ms. Woodson also says, Shanice, if yes, you can work on indicating experience managing strategic projects in whatever, I guess, projects, and you can show you deliver those projects in time and on budget. And then Diana, for you, somebody is iPhone. Diana, please share your contacts and your email, if you don't mind. If you don't, then there's or somebody tells Lydia, I see you in the World Bank or IMF. So Lydia, people are wishing you well. I can envision that too, Daniela. So there's just conversation. Then thank you for the wonderful educating and eye-opening session. That's from Jacqueline. Great presentation. Will definitely update my resume with the keywords. Then pretty much, I feel that's it. Unless I missed anything. Oh, you have your details there. I think I caught up with everything on the chat, so we'll see if does anyone else in the audience have any questions, any comments, anything to say, ask, add?
Hey, Jackie, there was a question as to how often you have these types of events. So I'm not sure whether this is somebody that I know that's asking on the side.
Oh, on the side, okay.
Yeah, so I don't know how people found out about it or how they can find out more about other events you have.
Absolutely. We either have the events bi-weekly or every week. Typically, Tech Talks Fireside Chat happens on Tuesdays at 8 p.m. EST, 7 p.m. CST, 5 p.m. PST, 3 a.m. Kenya, and whatever global time it is. We have community page on Facebook, Careers in Tech and Cybersecurity, where all this is recorded. We go live on there and people use it to communicate. Eugene, I'll send you the link. So whomever wants to join will know from that page. And then just you're in touch with me, Eugene, in various chats. So I also post them there. So always happy to, to share that information. But if they're on the Facebook community page, the Facebook community page is our home. It's our lounge. It's our sitting room. It is not dependent on a Tuesday meeting. It's just, you have something to share, something great happened, you got a promotion, you have something new, that's fine. Even if something bad happened in the tech or cybersec world and you need some help, always feel free to just, raise your hand for people to come through and help you as well. So that's an everyday thing based on people's wanting to communicate.
Can you please repeat the name of the group on Facebook?
It's our Careers in, 1 second. It is Careers in tech and cybersecurity, tech and non-tech roles. Careers
Well-
in tech and cybersecurity, tech and non-tech roles. And I can actually also drop the link in the chat. Did you find it?
I think dropping the link would be good
Would be helpful.
for a lot of people, Jackie.
Absolutely.
And Diana, thank you so much for your presentation. I'm just going to mention that I came from a healthcare background. I have a business degree, and I work as an applications analyst. So my goal was never to be in IT, and I ended up in IT because I had a healthcare background, and they were looking for people with the skills that I had working in the pharmacy who could support a pharmacy application. So it doesn't matter what you do. One of our best analysts on my previous team had an economics degree. So whatever your background, you can get into IT.
Absolutely.
I was in customer service, tech support, and I actually got into IT when I had my son. He's 9 now, but I stayed home with him for a year, and then my friend told me she was a business analyst. I was like, I want to get into IT. So I went online and I searched for business analysis training, and there was this company based out of India that was doing trainings then. I don't know if they still do it, but I did a lot of work on the side by myself because I could hardly understand anything they were saying, but I got most of my knowledge from them. It was hard, but I got that information. And from there, I've just really been looking for different roles in IT. And even with an associate degree, you can grow your career path. That's what Ms. Woodson said. So I really recommend anyone to not be stuck in the rat race, like go out there and look for something.
That's very, very impressive, Dee, and how you and Eugene started. I see Ms. Woodson states from communication, finance, business, Godspeed. I started from front desk agent. I did mortgages and then now in tech. And there was a time I wanted school so bad. I was also a hostess at a restaurant, trying to make money just to be able to take classes in tech. So nothing should ever stop anyone if that's what you want so bad. I feel we can do whatever. I mean, unless I don't know what happens. If you want something so bad in life, really, truly, there's ways to get that thing done. So tech is not any different. So Diana, with that, I'm going to say, do you want to give us a parting shot, your last words? People know how to reach you. You've left that in the chat. You give BA classes, resume prep, and I know your resume prep is killer for sure. For sure, I can attest to that. Your BA talks prior to this and today have been absolutely amazing. Ms. Joyce Green gives QA classes. So you guys, you have resources if that's what you're looking to do. Don't be stuck. I mean, I've thrown out the names out there. You know how to reach them. Dee, do you have a parting shot for everybody? And with that, after that, once you say your parting shot, then I'll say goodbye to everybody.
Nothing really. The tech field, yeah, don't be intimidated. Once you get in there, you can learn. And then when you go in as a non-tech, you can become a tech person. Just getting your foot in the door is the challenge. But once you're in there, you can look for different software to learn, or you can learn SQL, you can learn Python, and you can learn coding. If little kids are doing coding, I mean, we can all do it. My son is in coding right now. He teaches me Java. So we can get into tech regardless of your background, your age, your whatever it is. It's for all of us. So, and only if that's what you want to do. Yeah, nothing else.
Thank you. Thank you, Dee. Today has been very eye-opening, very insightful. Thank you for your time. I greatly appreciate it. And everybody on the call, there's a Mary Ndungu coming in. I guess she's coming in Nancy Ndungu coming in for us to tell her goodbye. But for everybody on the call, I hope you benefited today. And thank you so much for your time, Dee. Thank you for enlightening us. Thank you for elevating us. So we really appreciate you. And with that,
Thank you
I'm
for
going to say
having me.
goodbye, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. Take
Bye.
care.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Right. Thank you very much. Thanks, Jackie. Thanks, Dee.
Bye. You're welcome.
Dee's still there. All right.
Bye-bye.
Till you make it. You've been watching Success with Bob Mwiti Show, brought to you by Upstack America. Come back next time to hear more steps and missteps that I took on the path to becoming a successful immigrant in USA. Be sure to subscribe to my YouTube channel and also follow me on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn.